Guys, we did it. We did it. I really didn't doubt that we'd make it at least a year because I actually spent money to kick this off. I became a premium seller on TPT in March of 2023 for $59.95. And you know, this girl does not spend a dime if she doesn't have to. That said, it was one of the things that I did right, and it actually paid off. So here's more of what paid off, what was meh, and what I'm definitely doing differently in year 2. Cheers! Hey there and welcome. I am Melissa, homeschooling mom of 4 and online teacher, as well as online creator of digital products and things like this video. I am so glad you're here. And today what we're going to do is break down some of the things that I did right in my first year on TPT, some of the things I'll be doing differently, and finally the actual numbers that we'll get into near the end. Now, let's start with some of the things I think I did right. I got really good at creating stuff. This takes time. This is not something that is a quick and easy thing to do. That's why a template of your own creation is a fantastic way to make this a really streamlined process. I tend to use Canva. I have a Canva Pro subscription, which is important so that you have free license to use things commercially. Make sure you've got that in place and refine those skills. Take the time to get faster and more efficient with product creation. Now, in addition to product creation, it was also the idea of keeping my buyer in mind. What do I mean by that? So as a teacher and a homeschooling parent, I know that if a product is easy to print, I'm more likely to actually use it. If I have to have some really complicated setup, it's not as easy to use. If there is some sort of setup that is necessary, is that well explained? Is the description, is the instruction sheet really well set up so that I know exactly what I should be doing with this product that you sold me? As the creator and seller of this product now, that's on me. And I need to be able to make sure that buyers know exactly what they're getting when they get it. Otherwise, this could lead to poor reviews or people who are just upset about what they bought, not being clear on what they got. That's more likely my fault. Another thing I think I did well was taking one idea and creating multiple uses for it. So for example, a game that I might use in my classes with my students, I could make that game into a speaking and language practice activity. I could also make it into a debating activity. And then I could also make it into a writing activity. This was really cool because I could kind of triple the amount of products I could create with one idea. Also, my niche kind of lends itself toward multiple languages. So something I tried to do this year was create the same product, but create it in different languages, English, French, and Spanish in my case. If that's something that you're able to do, or even outsource it to someone who speaks that language, so that you're getting a really, really native translation of the thing that you're doing, do it. I had my French resources checked because I am not a native French speaker. I do speak Spanish very well, and obviously I'm a native English speaker, but my French stuff, I needed to get checked by a French speaker. I paid someone to do that, but it opened up my store to people looking for French resources, and I could easily create them. Something else I did was with those different somewhat related products, I created bundles out of them. And so if there are different topics, different themes like astronauts, superheroes, and chefs, I could kind of bundle them together for the same type of practice, but just different themes. That was a really easy way for me to kind of upsell. And if people were up for it and it would save them time to buy the bundle and money, that was great for me as well. Something else I did was create for TPT, but also not just for TPT. Here's what I mean. I put in all this work, so why not get more eyeballs on these products? I put my resources up on TPT. I also put them on Teach Simple, Nuggets of Wisdom, and Classful. And later on, I started posting them on my own website. So a quick word on this, if I'm driving the traffic, then I'm going to drive it to my own website, right? TPT takes a commission. All these other websites, they take a commission, and for good reason. However, they're the ones that if my SEO is correctly put in place, then things should take care of itself on TPT and other websites where I've listed my products. On my own website, if I'm driving traffic there, I started using something called Koji, RIP Koji, in December of 2023. Koji was sold and I had to find a new home for all my digital products. I chose PayHip, which you can check out here, created a whole video showing you how to get things up into a store on Koji. And I linked that not Koji, on PayHip, and I linked that PayHip store to my website, melissasteaching.com. And drumroll, it includes courses. It's pretty cool. So it's not just digital products. You can also have your flex classes. That's where I've kept my self-paced classes. You can also have a membership. I have a membership for those who are looking for support as they build up this side hustle. Perhaps you've got 1, 2, 3 hours available to you each day as a busy person. You can check that out. It's a really great place with support and lots of resources. All that said, having a place to drive my own traffic will help me keep more of the profits, and it won't make a big dent in my wallet because I can actually not pay for my PayHip store. It's free. There is a 5% payout, but hey, 5% is a much lower percentage than that 45 or 20% on TPT, depending on your membership status. Some of those sites brought in more than others. In particular, I want to talk about Teach Simple. Now, Teach Simple has a different profit sharing model, which you can get into the weeds on another time. But the idea here is that it's got an additional filter. So I can put the same products on Teach Simple that are listed on TPT, but it's got an AI and an original content filter. Now, I'm not going to be copying something from ChatGPT that I would then put in my description. I'm a little bit more purposeful in my description writing than that, but I would like to not have to rewrite a whole description. Unfortunately, that's what I do have to do for Teach Simple. And so there's something to be said for the amount of work that goes into listing a product there. It needs to be 300 words. It needs to be completely original. It can't be like paragraphs that are the same that are on TPT. I digress. I consistently earn money on there each month. I've earned over $100 this year without doing anything on there. I just list them. And if my products are similar, I can just duplicate to a new product and there's no duplicated content filter that kind of comes up there. So it's a nice way to, if you've got stuff written well on Teach Simple, it's a really good way to kind of keep reusing it and make that really easy money. Another thing I did well was I treated this as a business. It was a business with investments. So I put up the money, that $59.95, to become a premium seller. I knew that if I put up that fee and I made over $250 on TPT, then it would be worth it. Now, spoiler alert, I made more than $250 on TPT that first year. And in addition to TPT, all those other sites where I felt motivated to put up the content that I was already creating for TPT, I made almost double that. So it's a really important thing and it motivated me. I think that's the big takeaway here. That investment motivated me to take it seriously and set aside time each week in order to work on this and grow this part of my business. Another good thing I did this year, I opened up my eyes and I learned there are so many amazing, helpful people out there when it comes to selling digital products. Something like optimizing your keywords. You can check out a video that we recently had with Colleen from Seller Spy. That's just one of the tools that is really helpful. And it's something that I'm changing up this year in my store. But one amazing resource that I learned probably the most from was Lauren Fulton's Rebranded Teacher podcast. I've linked that below, as well as Michelle Emerson's Pocket Full of Primary YouTube channel. She's got some really great basic ideas for how to get started on your TPT store, things that you really don't want to mess up, like your taxes, like your, licenses. Are you okay legally to sell things like this? That sort of thing. So be sure you do your homework, open up your eyes and see what's out there. It doesn't have to cost a lot. And there's definitely the support out there in this community. I'm also constantly talking with other creators who are making products. We talk about them, we share them, we give each other reviews and feedback on these. So getting your products out there into the world and testing them is a really helpful thing. And it's definitely something I'll continue into the second year on TPT. Now let's shift gears a little bit. Here's something that I'll be doing differently in year 2. First, I'm going to set up some times to work that are a little bit more structured. Here's what I mean. I had a general time that I would get my product creation work done. I had really set aside Fridays and sometimes a Saturday morning if there wasn't anything going on with my family that I would work on these products. But it wasn't a really focused time. I didn't really have a good routine set in place, like putting my phone away, making sure other distractions were out of the way, and really having a plan of what I wanted to get done. It was just like, meh, whatever I get done, I get done. No, now I plan on setting aside about 30 to 45 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week to work on product creation. With new product lines that I'm starting to create, they're not as drawn out. Each product doesn't take as long to make. And this speaks to the amount of time that I put into really getting efficient at these processes. But man, it was so much work that I would kind of get bogged down and when is this ever going to get done? And I wouldn't be motivated to spend more time on it. I just kind of wanted to push it out of the way and just get it done whenever it got done. Now I will have at least 3 to 4 times a week that 30 to 45-minute session where something must get done and kind of hold myself to it. I've heard of other creators who set aside a certain time on the weekend, probably because they're in the classroom, where they spend 2 to 3 hours and they crank out so many products for that week during that time. That'll work for some people. I just don't have that time to set aside. And so it's a really important thing to kind of evaluate where your free spots are in your schedule, where you can sit down and have focused, dedicated resource creation time. Now, last year, I didn't have a goal for the amount of products I wanted to create. I wanted to see what I created, see what sold, really get some good data under my belt in order to then create more purposefully in the future. And I think I'll do that again this year. I don't have a goal in mind, but I'm going to make a prediction and we'll come back at the end of year 2 and see if it's correct. I'm going to predict that I'll create more resources in year 2 in less time and they'll sell better. Just my prediction. We'll see. Something else I'll be doing differently this year are my thumbnails. As I kind of look through and learn from others, I can see that there are definite trends and themes in thumbnails, but something that I see as a customer, as a buyer, is how the resource is used. If that's on the cover, I am much more likely to click on it and get more information on it. That's something that I'm doing. I'm redoing all of my thumbnails from before, showing them what they look like. Here's an example of what this looks like. I have a card game. It's called I Have Who Has. Now, it's a card game. Kids hold cards in their hands that are cut out, small rectangles, right? But on my thumbnail, I have them in the document form, like 8 cards printed on a page. That's not the cards in use. That's the cards after they're printed. So my goal is to get that thumbnail switched over to show probably my own kids with the cards in their hands and no faces, but just kids with cards in their hands so that the buyer then understands, oh, kids are interacting, they're moving, they're talking, and they're asking questions in this game. They're speaking, they're getting speaking practice. That's the idea with thumbnails and something that I'm moving toward in the future. And now that I know what this looks like, I'm creating my new thumbnails in this style so that I don't have to go back and do it again later. Something else I've seen with more printable activities is actually printing out the resource, coloring on it, writing on it, showing it after it's been used in order to see, oh, this is what the final product is going to be like. Now, it takes time to do that printing, to do that coloring, to do that writing, to set it up, to make something beautiful. But don't we know that? It's worth it. In the end, if people see something beautiful, their eye is going to be drawn to it. And that's what we want with our products. So I am still learning to do this well. We'll see how it goes this year. This is the biggie, the big one that I will be doing differently than last year. So last year, I created 74 products. It's respectable, but it was a lot of work. And to be honest, I wish I had sold more for the amount of work that I put in. But I also didn't put much effort into the keywords and titles that I used. So now, what am I doing differently? I am going to use my arsenal of free SEO products. Okay, here are a few. All right, write these down. Seller Spy's keyword generator. I can include just a few words, play around with it, get new ideas of what people might be searching for, if it's competitive or not, if it's saturated or not, if it's popular or not, and use that intentionally to create a product line or a product title that is going to then boost my product line and boost the visibility that it has out when people are searching in the wild on TPT. I can also use this kind of silly, simple related link generator from Bearwood Labs. It's free. Again, you put in your URL for your TPT store and it'll give you a link of all your products, a list of all your products. You choose which ones are related to the product that you're creating, copy paste, all of those go into your description. These are upsells. So if somebody is reading through and they say, oh, I like this. Oh, she's got a whole bundle of them. Great. I'm going to go for that. I'll save time and money, right? That's the sort of thing that we really want. And that's already worked so far this year. 2024, I have been focusing pretty much solely on refiguring the SEO in my store, rewriting descriptions so that they're clearer, more concise, and keyword packed. A snippet at the top, those first two sentences, that's so important. And if they are full of keywords and it's readable, it's not stuffed, that's really important for the buyer to then feel like, oh, I'm seen, I know that this is what I want, and so I'm going to go ahead and get this. Or for TPT to then read those first two sentences of my snippet and my description and say, oh, this person searched this. Oh, it's in here. I'll show her this product. So that's the type of thing that I really, really hope you guys will do as you start. But I've already seen it work in just the past 3 months of selling in 2024. So we'll see. Now, just a reminder, that video with Colleen went up last week, depending on when you're watching this. And it's important for you to take into account those SEO tools that are out there. There are free and paid tools. So check them out. Check them out. It's totally worth it. So that said, product creation is kind of on the back burner right now. I'm spending most of my TPT dedicated time to reworking titles, reworking descriptions, and redoing my thumbnails. So how much did you make? That's the question, right? So let's go ahead and break this down. I'll put up screenshots so you can see like the final numbers by the time I'm editing this in the future. Hello, future me. But the important thing here is that there is growth. And as I mentioned, I wish I had made more. So just know that this is me being vulnerable, and I really would like to have documentation of this so that at the end of year 2, I can look back and see, hey, did my SEO changes work or not? Here's hoping they do. So on TPT, I made about $280-ish. Let's see what the actual numbers are. All right, so you can check that out on what the final screenshot says. On Koji, RIP Koji, my personal store, I made about $100 in year 1. Again, that was March to December. So 9 months, made about $100 there. Teach Simple, I made $102 so far. I'll put a screenshot here as to what the final year to date was. Classful and PayHip, early days, I've sold a little bit on PayHip. Again, that's my personal store that I'm using now. It's only been there for about a month or 2. Classful, about a month. Haven't sold anything on there. I'm still learning about it. It feels like Pinterest, but like in TPT. Still figuring it out, still learning. Something to come back to in year 2. So it's a journey. It's definitely a journey. I have learned so much. I'm grateful for the people that I've learned from and for you guys. I have connected with so many people who are creating stores, who have created really successful stores, but are kind of optimizing them, or who started like years ago, kind of forgot about it, threw some resources up and forgot about it, and are still earning like $10 a month. Cool too, right? But are starting to take it seriously now because I see it as a passive source of income, which is great. So all that said, I am glad to have documented this moment in time about a year after starting my store. I look forward to maybe in 6 months, we'll do a little check-in and see if the SEO work paid off. So if you are just starting out on TPT, let's hear your questions below. Community, hop in there. Let's see what you guys have to say. If you'd like to leave your store link, I would love to check it out. I love seeing what other people are doing in there. We can always learn from others. And it's really cool to see what you guys are selling and creating. You guys, if nobody's told you it today, thank you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. It's really important. Happy teaching.